Alright, well, welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. Today we're going to talk about every farmer's favorite, fire ants. Fire ants are something that got imported from Brazil way back in the day. They are not native to Florida, but they are a huge pest in Florida now. There are no natural predators, and so done a lot of research, done a lot of reading online, I should say, to try and figure out how I'm going to go about getting rid of my fire ants without destroying my ecosystem and my soil. So that's what today's subject is about, and I've got a pretty good sized hill that I've already started working with, and I'll show you that here in just a second. So the problem with fire ants is that they make these huge hills, and they get into everything, and really not bad for your produce necessarily, though they can actually farm aphids, which can cause problems in your plants. The bigger issue is when you get in here and you start messing with them or start digging around in the dirt. Oops. You'll see that as soon as you disturb the soil a little bit, they go crazy. Let me see if I can get in a little closer. And you can see all the activity there. Just a little disturbance has caused. Man, I got ants everywhere. So how do we get rid of them? That, my friends, is the issue. So I'm going to try something relatively new. Well, not relatively new, I should say, but something that I've just discovered. Now, I had a big spot of them right over here, and you'll see that though there were just as many before, I've got a few. Oops, sorry, I'm shading it out. I've got a few ants coming up. I don't know if you can see that or not, hopefully. But I have successfully chased off or killed off a huge amount of fire ants. Alright, and I'm going to show you how I did it. Alright, so there are a lot of commercial products available that you can use to treat for fire ants. The problem is that all of them involve poison of some sort. Matter of fact, I've got them all in here now, and these things are spreading all over the place. So the issue is what to do about them without poisoning your garden. So doing some reading, I've seen a lot of recommendations for using hot water. I've also seen things about using peppers, which if you look right here, you can kind of see. I tried using the peppers, and as you can see, there's pepper chunks right here, and it was not very effective. So what I did read, and what I've tried over on the other side, is to use water. Now, fire ants are just like anything else. They can drown. They do require oxygen, and so what I did over there that seemed fairly effective is that I just hosed them down real good, tried to get the water as deep as possible. Now, this will hopefully make them want to leave, and drown a bunch of them, and then hopefully the rest of them will just want to keep on moving on. Alright, man, I've got them all over the place here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and hose them down real good. Now, when you do this, essentially to make this work, you have got to turn their home into soup. So you're going to need a hose that has very good water pressure. And I would highly recommend some boots. You are going to get ants on you, and you may get bit. So if you're allergic to fire ants, I don't know whether or not this would be for you, or the bee stings. And I think they have the same type of venom as bee stings. So here I've got another ant mound all in through here, and you can see I've been stepping on it, figuring, well, if I keep stepping on it, maybe they'll move, but that has not worked. I'm just trying to irritate them once again. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to try something different. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and dig it up. Now, if you're going to do this, you're probably going to get bit. Now me, I'm a guy who doesn't really get too bothered by bee stings or ant bites, but if you're allergic, do not do this. Another thing you can do, and I don't have any anymore, if you have anybody military, or if you can go to a military surplus store, you can get blousing bands and tie your pants up around your boots. What I'm going to do is hopefully just keep them off of me as best I can. But I'm going to dig this all out, and I'm going to toss the dirt behind me where I don't care if the ants go. The idea is that hopefully it'll disturb the nest enough to get rid of it, and get the ants to migrate someplace else as much as possible. So what I'll do is I'm going to dig it out, and then I'm going to toss the dirt behind me into an area that I don't care if they stay in, and hopefully either kill them off or convince them that this is not the place to live. So with that being said, I'll go grab my shovel. Alright, so now, I know you guys can't see it as much. When I look down, I don't see very many ants. I mean, you know, there's still thousands, but nowhere near as many as before. So, hopefully this will work. I got to do something. I can't keep having these anthill problems in this particular area. There are some difficulties again, like I said, with this. One, it may or may not work. Though it seems to have in that one particular spot. I'm going to continue to try it here, see how it works. You'll notice, well, you may not be able to see it, but I do have a lot of vegetative material. I had some old grass clippings I put over this, and when I did this, I tried to make sure that was on top so it kind of washed down into the soil. Part of the problem with this is just like having a lot of continuous rain. You're dumping a lot of water into your soil, so that can push all those nutrients that you've been trying to store up and save in the top 6 inches of soil, or 12 inches of soil as the case may be, push them down lower into the dirt. But at this point, I think it's worth it to try and see how it goes. And then, like I said, I'll try and re-improve the soil with some organic manure and compost that I've been building in my compost bin over there once I get rid of the sand problem. It is winter time, so I'm able to do this. Obviously, you cannot do this if you've got an anthill in and amongst growing vegetative material, you know, whether it be a plant, a tree, or, you know, root vegetables. You're going to wash all the nutrients and dirt away from your roots, and potentially drown the roots and cause some root rot. So now's the time to do it when I don't have anything growing in here. And like I said, I'll check again over the next couple days. We're going to keep doing this for a few days, and I'll let you know how it worked out and whether or not the ants moved on. All right, once again, thanks for stopping by Jim Bob's Garden. Like, subscribe, show your friends. If this works, this is a poison-free, completely ecologically sound way to get rid of ants. If you've got suggestions on how to do it, better ways to get rid of ants, things that will work better and perhaps easier than this, please let me know. Give me something in the comments and I'll respond back as best I can. Once again, thanks for stopping by. Alright, so it's been right at 4 months since I did my ant video on how to get rid of fire ants. And what I'm going to do is kind of show you what the results are. All right, so welcome to Jim Bob's Garden, and this is the conclusion or the results of the fire ant video. Okay, so this is the area where I did all my fire ant killing before. All right, and as you can see, I got some potatoes planted, though they're kind of dying off already. It has been 4 months, like I said. And I will tell you that for the most part, with the exception of this one little hill right here, which I just noticed, so I think they just came back. Let's see if I can get you a little closer there. You can see that there's a few ants there, which I'm going to kill off here in a second. The same method. All right, but other than that, there is no large population, at least, of fire ants in this area. Now I have planted some potatoes in here after these, so I'm going to see if they come up. It doesn't appear as though the dirt has suffered dramatically. As you can see, I've got some weeds growing and such, so it's not like I've sterilized the dirt in any way. So I would say that that has been pretty successful. Matter of fact, this, I believe, is the better of the two ways now that I come back to it. Let me take you over here to the other spot. So this is the area where I did the dig out. And once again, you can see that there are no major fire ants in this area, even punching holes in it. I don't seem to have issues where a bunch of fire ants are coming up. I did fill the dirt back in and then recover it up with wood chips. And then over here where I threw the dirt, again, you don't see a lot of evidence of fire ants. So I think we're okay. So I believe that was successful as well. Though originally I did have an issue where it seemed as though the fire ants had just moved to a different location. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not seeing them right now. So appears as though this worked as well. Okay, so as you can see, both methods seem to have worked fairly well. I think originally, when I had been back over in that area where I dug it out, it seemed to me as though initially that the ants had just moved to a location a few feet away, which now they seem to have disappeared, so maybe it was more effective than I thought it was. But it seemed to me like the water method, which I've used in other places in the yard, was probably the more effective of the two. Either way, both seem to have worked very well. So I could, I would say you could do either or. I would say the water method is a lot less labor intrusive. Though what I would do, get yourself a piece of rebar or some kind of long pole that you can stuff down in the dirt, and then if you take it and you shove it down into the dirt where the ant hills are, and then you use the water, it's a lot easier to get the water down deep, and you don't have to work, or you don't have to use nearly as much water because you can shoot the water down into the holes that you've created with your rebar. And like I said, I've done this in a couple other spots out in the front yard, and it's worked very, very well. So if you were going to ask me how to get rid of fire ants without using poison, take a piece of rebar, punch it down into the ant mound and all around it, and then just dump a ton of water on it and basically just drown them out. That would be my suggestion, and that's how I will proceed from this point forward. If you got other ideas or other suggestions on how to get rid of ants without using poison, please let me know. Tell me what you think, and give me suggestions and so on. I'm going to continue to use this though until I find a better method that doesn't involve using poison. So once again, thanks for stopping by. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and grow something in your yard. And if you got fire ants, get you a piece of rebar and a water hose, and you should be able to get rid of them. Thanks for stopping by.